Hi, everybody. Welcome to Virtual Open House for Anatomy. My name is Elizabeth Brennan, and I'm very excited to work with your students this year. I first want to start with some contact information. The easiest way to reach me right now would be my email address, which is elizabeth_brennan@glenbard.org. First, I want to start by telling you a little bit about myself. This is my 16th year at Glenbard West. I graduated from Purdue University. That's actually my family in the top right corner at Purdue, the Purdue Bell Tower. My husband also went to Purdue University. He was actually the mascot of Purdue, Purdue Pete. I teach biology, study skills, and anatomy. I have two daughters, which you can see in the picture, McKenna, who is 9, and Evelyn, who is 5. First, I want to give you an overview of the anatomy course. This is a 1-semester course, so we are only in it until the end of first semester. We start, and we just finished this unit on language of anatomy, so lots of vocabulary terms that are going to help your student throughout the whole course. Next, we're going to move on to all the tissues and skin that make up the body. Then we'll go on to bones for the skeletal system, the muscular system and learn the muscles, and then the circulatory system, and then we'll wrap up with the nervous system. Next, I want to talk to you about some tips for remote learning. Remote learning is new for all of us, so here are some guidelines and some tips for your students. First, wake up early and begin log into class a few minutes early. Find a quiet place if possible, making sure their iPad is on. I encourage them to turn on their cameras if they're able to, and to use headphones. They always are very good about muting themselves when they're not talking, so that's not a problem. But staying focused and attentive can be especially difficult in remote learning. So making sure your student has access to a chair or somewhere they can sit up as opposed to a bed would be especially helpful. They can raise their hand, they can ask questions in the chat. I encourage them to participate. The anatomy classes are period 1 and 2, so they're very early in the morning and they're often very quiet. So encouraging your students to ask questions and participate would be especially helpful for remote learning. Another thing I wanted to mention is with remote learning, it can be difficult to stay organized. So still making sure that your student is using some kind of planner or a homework app, something to keep track of their assignments is especially important. I think with remote learning, sometimes they forget that they still need to do stuff like this. They should stay engaged, making sure they communicate, check email regularly, respond to the teacher's emails, look at Schoology updates. Participating in class can also be very helpful, so making sure they're staying engaged and active in their learning. And then last, making sure they ask for help. They can call, they can email, or set up any office hours appointments. I have office hours available in the afternoons, and they can sign up at any point in time to get some extra help for anything they don't understand. The first student engagement activity that we're going to be using in class is an app called ClassKick. This app is where your student will be doing the majority of their homework and practice. Students might occasionally complete assignments in Notability and submit them to Schoology, but most of their daily work will take place in the ClassKick app. I will give students a number of slides to work on each day, and that's where they'll be practicing and applying the knowledge that we learned in class. This is what the app looks like on their iPad, so you can find it easily and check it out. The reason that we're using the ClassKick app is because I can see the students working in real time. So as they complete their assignments, I can watch them, I can help them, I can go into their assignment, write comments, and make corrections. So we can see all the students working at once, which is extremely helpful for remote learning. Also, in ClassKick, the student has the ability to ask for help. They can click one of these buttons you see in the image and ask for help. And they can also have me check a slide over again by clicking the Please Check button. ClassKick is an extremely helpful app for remote learning. By now, you're probably pretty familiar with Schoology and Notability. We will use Schoology and Notability throughout the anatomy course as well. In Schoology, what can be found in there is important links, for example, like the Zoom link to the class. You can also find documents and assignments. All of the students' notes are PDF files, and you can find them all in Schoology. Also, any assignment that we're submitting into Schoology, you can find those as well. You can see all the turn-in and submissions. You can see a calendar and an event list with all the due dates. And the app for Schoology looks like this, so you can find it on their iPad. Also, Notability, we will still be using Notability. That is where they will complete their class notes and some assignments. So any type of lecture notes that we will be doing, you can find in Notability. Another student engagement activity that we will be using in anatomy would be the virtual classroom. For this year, since it's a special year and a different year, I've created a virtual anatomy room so the students can feel like they're in my actual classroom. There are 2 agendas that the students will have access to: a general overview, a weekly agenda where I give them a summary of what we're going to do throughout the week. And then if they click on each individual day, a more specific class will come up and it'll tell them what we're going to do each day, what is due that particular day, and there's many other links and other things they can find in their virtual classroom. You can find the link to this in Schoology. It'll be called Week 1 Agenda, and then the dates, and then Week 2 Agenda, etc. So they have a different one for each week. So if your student is absent or if they missed a Zoom class for whatever reason, this would be a great place to go to see what was done in class that day, and then they can make it up.
In an effort to keep remote anatomy as close to the real anatomy as possible, I'm hoping to have some virtual guest speakers this semester. We typically have a physical therapist, a trauma nurse, and a chiropractor speak to our classes. I also hope to incorporate some medical apps into our curriculum this semester. We typically do a great deal of labs and dissection, and I'm hopeful if we can get these apps, we will be able to replicate some of the modeling experiences that we typically do in class.
Since all of your students are upperclassmen, I'm sure you're fairly familiar with PowerSchool. This is just a reminder that PowerSchool contains your students' official grades, so you want to check it regularly and encourage them to check it regularly as well. In anatomy, we are going to put grades in the following categories. You'll see assignments, which are homework and in-class work, and then you'll see assessments, which are quizzes, tests, and projects. Their term grade will be calculated by total points, and the semester grade will be the term grade combined with a final exam. You'll also notice in PowerSchool there are the following icons: late, missing, exempt, absent, incomplete, and excluded. I'll use a variety of these to let you know what's going on with your students' assignments. The event list in Schoology is a great place for your students to go to see what they have due in their class. In anatomy, I'm going to be using the event list, which is over on the right side of the course page in Schoology, to include both homework that is submitted to Schoology, but also homework that is not submitted to Schoology. So for example, if I tell them to do a certain number of slides in Class Kick, I will always make sure to put it in this event list over here so they can easily remember and recall when it is due. Remember, I am here to help, so don't wait. If your student is struggling, have them reach out, or you can reach out too. My goal is that every anatomy student finds success. Besides reaching out directly to me for help, there are places your student can go if they need extra help in anatomy. The learning targets are a great place to go for extra resources and studying tools. On the right side of the learning targets, there are links to videos, and there are links to Quizlet sets that will help them study and review the terms. The videos are recordings of my lectures so they can rewatch them in case they miss something in class. I also include some supplemental videos as well that will help them hear it from a different point of view. As I mentioned before, I'll be providing office hours to students. If a student is struggling, signing up for office hours would be a great opportunity to get some extra help. They are individual meetings through Zoom, and I will set 10-minute time slots that your student can sign up for. The sign up is in Schoology in a black folder. There's a sign up link, and they can write their name on the spreadsheet and tell me what time they would like to meet me, and then a Zoom link special for office hours. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn a little bit about anatomy and myself. I look forward to working with your students and you this year, and I hope that your students will learn to love anatomy as much as I do.